So, Madam President, we have come to the point of the evening where it is time to listen to a great man wax poetic about somebody who's going to have a lot of targets on him tonight. So, Madam President, I recommend that you introduce our guest speaker and we kick off the revelry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice. So I would like to introduce Fleet Master Chief retired Paul Kingsbury. Served over 31 years in the U.S. Navy, culminating his selection as the Fleet Master Chief for U.S. Fleet Forces Command. He is the author of the Chief Petty Officer's Guide, 2nd edition, and has several published articles in military journals. He currently works in the U.S. Naval Institute as the co-director of outreach and serves as the national president and commander of the Non-Commissioned Officers Association. The three of us, Mike, myself, and Master Chief, served together aboard the USS Ronald Reagan, CVN 76, that's plank owners, and have worked on numerous professional projects following Paul's retirement from the Navy. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our dear friend, Paul Kingsbury.
They can't hear us, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. So good evening, everyone. First of all, job well done to Mike, Liz, and Brett for putting this together. At first, I was a little skeptical, but this is kind of working out pretty good. So it's kind of the life that we're in now. But it's pretty cool to see that. It's good to see everyone here, and I'm glad that you all could join us. And I think it's definitely a unique night for us, and definitely the first virtual document I've ever done. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about Mike and a little less about his career. All that stuff, as you know, is on the links. You know, we've heard about awards. You guys know him personally. You guys know him professionally. So I want to talk about the Mike that I know, and more about the attributes that makes Mike Mike. And hopefully this resonates with some of you. I don't know him as often or as much as many of you do. So I first met Mike, actually. So Mike, I looked this up today. So we first met back in 28 April of 2016. So almost 5 years ago to the date. And that was a U.S. Naval Institute general membership meeting. I was there to receive the prize for the 3rd place general essay contest article I had written. And during a social time, I looked over, and as I do in all those kind of events, I was in uniform. Mike wasn't. He was in a suit and tie, but I picked up on his aviation warfare pin. I think he had a surface warfare pin too. Probably he had like 60 other friggin' things, you know. But so I immediately was drawn to him. I was like, hey, there's an enlisted guy. I'm gonna go over see what he's doing, what he wants to do. So we had a great conversation. And he told me his history, you know, not in depth, but we quickly made a connection. And that conversation ended with him saying, you want to go meet some congressmen? And that was the last thing I thought I was going to hear that night. And literally, I met some congressmen. So I went from the Naval Institute meeting as a Fleet Master Chief to the, what's it called, the Republican National Club. I think that's where we were. And I was handshaking with congressmen. So that really got my attention at that point. I'm like, wow, right? So here was a guy that was doing great stuff and engaged and was well connected, and already thing I appreciated was breaking those models of what we traditionally consider what enlisted do and officers do and those kind of things. So, and from there, our relationship's just grown. We kept in touch, you know, while I was on active duty, and we've continued to do since. And like I said, since then, our relationship's grown, and I've learned some things, many that you guys might know, some you may not. But so first of all, I've known the last year, all his hair has shifted from his head to his chin. So, and I don't know kind of what's going on there, but he must be following Dave Hart's lead, because Dave's got that going too. So I don't know what's going to fall out of there or what he's got stored in there, but he might be storing some more swag or something in there. But so the other things I know about it, so he's committed, he's passionate, he's informed, but he's got these other attributes that I just feel compelled that we got to bring up tonight that you guys should know. So if you haven't noticed, first of all, Mike likes to collect titles and swag, right? So he is that fleet sailor who has 10 warfare quals after his name. He's got all the designators, everything, you know, I mean, just look at his jacket. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? When you come to eventually discover, and you learn about him, and frankly, he's going to tell you eventually, right? He's just going to inform you. He has an endless list of titles and affiliations, and he's basically a walking alphabet soup of positions and memberships. So he's got more personal lifetime memberships than the U.S. Naval Institute has lifetime members. I know that at this point, right? If there's a lifetime membership, there's not a lifetime membership that Mike won't grab and be a member of. So I don't know why that is, but that's a thing he wants. And there's not a position or title that I've come to know he's not going to chase or go after. And you can read that all in his bio. And as you know, by the way, give yourself a good 30 minutes to read that bio because that thing goes forever. But for guys like me, I'm a little older. So I see Mike, he is a combination of Felix the cat, the Tasmanian devil, and the Wonder Twins, right? So he's this guy, he's spinning around. He's got this bag of tricks and swag. And then 1 minute, it's shape of U.S. Naval Institute lifetime member. And then bam, next thing he's all ball cap comes on, t-shirts going on, and he's the PAO for the Aviation Boatswain Association. And then bam, that evening it's off. And then he's on his, he's doing his Shriner thing, right? So he's definitely all over the place. He's like legislative affairs guy. He's worked for Trump. He's a Freemason. He's all this other stuff. I can't keep track of it all. And I don't know how, Liz, you do it either, right? He's also got all this swag, right? So it's not just the positions and the titles. I mean, look at his jacket tonight. He just has to walk like with a 30-degree list, right? So he's kind of just got all that stuff hanging over on the side. He's got this other stuff over here. It looks like, something out of a movie or something that Tom Hanks would be in, that he found those things in, some treasure hunt. Indiana Jones found those things, but I don't know what he's got going on. Again, I can't keep all track of it all. Liz, I'm sure you can't. Look at that. I love me more. There you go. Right. So he counters, like the hat counters the metal. So it keeps him kind of positioned right. So I think that's why he's got to do all that. And then look at the I love me wall back there. I mean, Liz, bless your soul for giving him all that room to put all that stuff up there. But
Room.
You only see half of it.
Yeah, there's more over here on the side.
yes. So another thing I've learned is apparently this guy doesn't sleep, right? So, and he makes no, he doesn't apologize. He's going to let you know that too. So I can't tell you like how many times him and I have had a discussion. He was helping me stand up my Cutlass Leadership website or helping me give advice on the Naval Institute or something. And then I wake up the next morning to like 50 taskers, boom, in my inbox, like all this stuff. And it's like dated at 2:30 in the morning. I'm like, what is this guy doing? And what's he doing? So obviously he's up there working constantly in his ops center. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but definitely he's engaged all the time. But honestly, I make fun of those things, but I know they really underlie, although they are true. I think they know, they're just indicators of who Mike is and what he's really about. His passion for his service, his passion for his country, and his passion for the military and veterans and other stakeholders. So you see that really Mike's strongest roles are those as an advocate and an ambassador. And he fulfills both of those roles very well for all the organizations that he's involved in. He doesn't just join those things as much as I make fun of him, right? He's not just doing it to sign up and get things on his wall. He makes shit happen. And he truly takes pride in his work and getting things done. So the Chief Petty Officer's Creed requires chiefs to be an ambassador of goodwill. And Liz and Mike, you're going to have to listen up because Liz, you're a chief select. Mike, you're going to be an honorary chief here. And I really want to take time because we throw that word around. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that read, but I think we don't take time to pause about the importance of being an ambassador and what it takes to be a good ambassador. But I think you do it well. And I want to reflect on that right now. So an ambassador is a person who's hired or who volunteers to represent a brand. So obviously it could be a nation like our country's ambassadors do. It could be a military service, and it could be as an MSO, VSO, or you can be ambassador for your family as well. But it takes a few things to be an ambassador and to do it right. So the first thing you talk about is who is Mike an ambassador for, right? And what is he an ambassador for? And in many cases, that's all of us. We're all ambassadors for something. So I see Mike as an ambassador for his country. I see Mike as an ambassador for the U.S. Navy and the U.S. Coast Guard. I've seen Mike as an ambassador for veterans and their families. I've seen Mike as an ambassador for enlisted service members. I've seen Mike as an ambassador for his rating and aviation boats and mate community. And I've seen Mike as an ambassador for his family. So that is a lot of effort he does. Some of those go together, but some of that he is definitely committed and invests a lot of time in doing this right. So the first thing, there's 6 things that I've kind of come learn that ambassadors have to do or have. So number one, first, they have to have a high level of professionalism. And if anyone's met Mike, they know that he does that well. He is a professional. He knows his trade. He knows his craft. He's informed, and he engages in a professional way and gets things done. Number 2, you got to have knowledge of your brand and know how to market it. So of all those things, if you've been, if you're the president of the Aviation Boats and Mate Association, he knows that brand and he goes out of his way to market it. And you can't tell me he doesn't. Naval Institute, he does it, right? Any one of us who's been connected with him, whether it was AUSN, whether it was working with him or his job, working with the Republican Party to attract veterans, he takes that on and he does well doing that role. He knows his brand, and he's definitely also going to tell you when you don't know your brand and when you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So I think that's another great attribute he has. Number 3, you got to have an in-person and an online presence. So you got to be engaged face-to-face with people, and you got to use these tools of social media to connect. I think we can see tonight, he definitely does all those. And I know I've seen him in person. That's where I met him. He does that extensively, and he definitely has helped teach me how to use online tools of communication in the ambassador roles that I serve in. So he definitely does that. Leadership skills, right? What is leadership? It's the ability to wield influence to achieve your goals or your organization's goals and to shape the attitudes and people. I don't think we can argue that he does that well, right? He is definitely out there leading and not necessarily in a specific leadership position with the authorities needed. He doesn't need that. He just goes out and gets things done through his connection power, his passion, and other things. So he's definitely a great leader, and he's demonstrated those skills on active duty and since he's gotten out. It requires the ability to gather feedback and provide innovative insight. So he is definitely open to that. He is definitely engaged. He goes out, he's connected to the stakeholders of all the organizations we're involved in and the organizations he's involved in. And he does provide insight and feedback back to the leadership with innovative solutions that he can do. I've personally seen that, and I know he does that. And I think many of you have as well. And then finally, I think you got to have passion. And I don't think we're going to say that Mike doesn't have passion. That's exactly what he has. He's passionate about everything. It comes out in everything he does. And I think he's an inspiration for all of us and a source of that when we run out of passion for the things we're doing. You just call Mike and he'll get you re-energized for what you want to do. So those of us who know Mike know he possesses all these, and regardless of which one of those 100 or so ambassador roles he's filling, he does them all well, and he helps those organizations get better. He is a tenacious advocate for them and their beneficiaries and for us, and he's always willing to help, perhaps even to a fault. But again, that just indicates the character he possesses and the lengths he's willing to go after the things he cares about and he's passionate about on the behalf of our constituents and their families. So definitely Mike is a guy I think you would say you want on your side, right? If you're going after something, you definitely want Mike with you, as the Coast Guard saw when the pay issues were rolling up and many other things that many of you have probably seen him do that I don't have the example or the experience doing. He's a guy you want with you, and he's going to get things done and get things done for the organization. So Mike, I'm so glad we met 5 years ago. I'm so glad for the friendship we developed over those past 5 years. And I'm proud of the work you do for service members, veterans, and their families. So congratulations to you on your 18-year career in the U.S. Navy. We've talked about this. Not all careers end exactly the way you want them to, but you should close this chapter out in a very proud way, knowing that your service and your accomplishments were far-reaching. Good luck to you, Liz, and your family, the Little family at large. All of you should be proud of Mike and what he's done. And thanks again for, again, reaching out and offering me the opportunity to spend this night with you and to say some words. So thanks again and good luck to you.